Hey everybody, Statustats here, and in today's video I'm going to be going over my Fantasy Hockey Week 2 waiver wire pickups. Over the years of playing many different fantasy sports, I've found that aside from drafting well, the waiver wire is your most important tool for success. Picking up a player before or while they are in the midst of a hot streak can make the difference between a win and a loss in any given week. This is especially important at the beginning of the season, as certain players who are in for a big year might have gone overlooked or undrafted in your leagues. It is up to you to identify these players and their value for the rest of the season. Fortunately for you, I've gone ahead and identified some of the players that I feel can make a difference for your team. For this list, I've included players that are rostered in less than 50% of leagues, as these players will be available in the majority of fantasy hockey leagues. However, still keep an eye out for any worthwhile players that might have been dropped in your league. Depending on the competitiveness of the league, you might have a person that drops a quality player due to their lack of production, to make room for a hot waiver wire pickup, or general ignorance. I've seen some pretty head-scratching moves in the past, so I recommend checking your waiver wire at least once or twice a week at the beginning and or end of the week. With that introduction out of the way, let's get into the video. We start off the list with my top waiver wire pickup for week 2, Matt Grzelcyk. I had Charlie McAvoy included on my preseason breakouts for his potential increase in playing time and his chance to take over Torrey Krug's spot on the Bruins' #1 power play unit. However, after the first 2 games, it appears Grzelcyk, not McAvoy, will get the first opportunity to secure his place on Boston's top power play unit. He finished the week with 1 assist on the power play and 10 shots on goal. He also logged the second most minutes on the team, behind only McAvoy. If Grzelcyk is able to maintain his power play role over the course of the season, he will be extremely fantasy relevant. Next up, we have Phil Kessel. To say that Kessel's first season in Arizona was a disappointment would be a massive understatement. He finished with only 38 points in 70 games, and at 33 years old, many people were ready to write him off this year, to the point where he went undrafted in many leagues. However, he scored 82 points in 82 games just 1 season prior in Pittsburgh, and while it's unreasonable to expect that kind of production from him while playing with the Coyotes, he has started off the year extremely hot, with 3 goals in his first 2 games. Even at this stage of his career, he's one of the Coyotes' best offensive weapons and has a good chance to score 20 goals even in a shortened season. Although he has yet to play a game for the Penguins, Kasperi Kapanen is in a good place to succeed this year. He's back with the team that drafted him, and after shuffling up and down the lineup in Toronto, he's expected to occupy a top 6 role in Pittsburgh, which will give him exposure to elite playmakers Sidney Crosby or Evgeny Malkin. The Pens have 3 games this week, and I expect Kapanen to play in at least 2 of them. He's an intriguing pickup not just for this week, but for the rest of the season. I grouped the next 3 players together because they all have similar value right now and play for the same team. First up, we have Joel Farabee, who had himself a fantastic start to the season. He recorded a goal and 3 assists in the Flyers' first game of the season. While he was pretty mediocre as a rookie, he was the 14th overall pick back in 2018. He's currently skating on a line with Kevin Hayes and Claude Giroux, and if the chemistry between those 3 is for real, Farabee could have himself a breakout this season. Speaking of Kevin Hayes, he's also one of my pickups for this week. Hayes finished the week with 1 goal and 2 assists, with his 1 goal and 1 of his assists coming in that first game of the year. He has been an above-average producer for his career, but his inclusion on this list is all about the chemistry displayed in their first game of the season. With Sean Couturier suffering an injury and being ruled out for the next few weeks, Hayes also finds himself on Philly's top power play unit. Finally, we have James Van Riemsdyk. I included Van Riemsdyk on this list for the simple fact that there's a good chance that Farabee or Hayes could be unavailable in your league. Given both players' performance in the first game of the year, and the fact that it was nationally televised, both Hayes and Farabee's ownership has already jumped dramatically. If you miss out on those two, I recommend picking up Van Riemsdyk. He might not have the upside of Hayes or Farabee, but he did contribute a goal and 2 assists in those 2 games, and given how explosive Philly's offense has looked so far, you're going to want a piece of their offense. If I had to rank them, I'd go with Farabee 1, followed by Hayes, and then Van Riemsdyk. Dylan Strome is another player that has a chance to make the most of his opportunities. With Jonathan Toews being unavailable due to an undisclosed issue, Strome becomes the de facto number 1 center on the team. As the number 1 center, he'll get to play on Chicago's top power play unit and, more importantly, skate alongside Patrick Kane. With Toews being placed on long-term injured reserve, it's looking more and more likely like he could be out for the season, leaving Strome to keep his spot as the team's top center, which would be a boon for his fantasy value. Finally, we have Pavel Buchnevich, who is getting the chance to skate on the Rangers' number 1 line alongside Mika Zibanejad and Chris Carter. He's also seeing time on the second power play unit and finished the week strong with a 3-point performance, including 2 goals and an assist against the Islanders. Whether he plays on the first or second line, New York has enough weapons to help Buchnevich succeed. To wrap up this video, I've included a player that I believe you should look to trade for. Anthony Duclair was probably taken at the end of a lot of drafts, and therefore you shouldn't have to give up much to acquire his services. His appeal comes from the fact that he is currently playing alongside elite fantasy players Alexander Barkov and Jonathan Huberdeau on the Panthers' top line and power play unit. It's a position that allowed fellow sniper Mike Hoffman to rack up 70 and 59 points the last 2 seasons, and Duclair could benefit from similar exposure. And that's going to be all from me. If you guys enjoyed the video or found it helpful, don't forget to leave a like and consider subscribing. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.